Hey, did you eat yet? I'm Victor, and this episode highlights my recent trip back to Tokyo. Growing up in the 90s, we were exposed to Japanese media and culture pretty early on. In high school, we were required to take a language class, and I got placed in the Japanese. I took Japanese for 2 years, and I was probably one of the worst students in the class, but I really respected and loved everything I learned about the culture. Back then, I already knew that Japan would be the first big trip I'd ever make once I had the means to do so. And so after I got my first job out of college, I saved up enough to make that trip with some of my closest friends. This trip is my third time back in Japan, and every time I come back, I'm reminded of how much I love this place. In this episode, I'm going out of town, exploring Tokyo, the largest city in the world. Japanese cuisine is mostly known for the high quality meats, the best sushi and seafood in the world, iconic ramen and other noodle soups, and so much more. Mo tabemashite ka? We're gonna start off this episode with Japanese Wagyu, some of the best beef you can get in the world. Yakiniku is a common way to enjoy beef in Japan, which translates literally to grilled meat in Japanese. Chefs will prepare bite-sized meat and other items for you to cook on a grill over a charcoal fire. It's the best way to enjoy this high-quality beef that this country offers. Just look at that marbling. We had reservations to a nice Yakuniku spot in Ginza, called Nihon Yakuniku Hasagawa. While on the pricier side, there were many kaiseki menu options, allowing you to try a ton of different things, from fresh seafood, appetizers, and a ton of different cuts of really high quality beef served in various ways. The setup here was great, where you got an up-close look at the chef preparing all the meat servings for you. First, they start you off with some appetizers and sashimi, super fresh stuff to get your appetite going. And then the chef serves up the first part of the meat dishes, which includes some skirt steak, tongue, and some more cuts. I don't remember which cuts they were, but I can tell you they were delicious. High quality beef cooked over a grill is undefeated. We get a quick mackerel bite, and then it's back to the beef again. Some beef round, served shabu shabu style, and then some sirloin, served in a sukiyaki style with the egg yolk. And the last beef dish, a seared Wagyu beef sushi with uni and roe, super rich and deep in flavors. This was a great spot to try yakiniku in a kaiseki style, and I left the restaurant hella satisfied. One of my favorite ways to enjoy beef in Japan is with gyukatsu. I've stopped by Gyukatsu Motomura every time I've come back to Tokyo, and it's easily one of my favorite meals each time. Gyukatsu is a breaded beef cutlet, deep fried to a medium rare doneness. At Gyukatsu Motomura, it's then sliced and served to you, with a hot stone plate for you to finish off your meat to your desired preference. It's delicious. Super tender, high quality meat over a bed of white rice. You can pair your gyukatsu with a little bit of rock salt or fresh wasabi too. It just melts in your mouth, and at such a good price too. The only downside is the wait time, and each time I've had Gyukatsu Motomura, I've had to wait anywhere from 40 minutes to an hour. But it's something I'd gladly wait for, and I know I'll be back. If you're visiting Tokyo, be sure to stop by here for some gyukatsu. In Japan, there's so many different ways to enjoy great sushi. Whether it's a high-end omakase spot, a sushi conveyor belt, a fish market, or just a casual sit-down place, trust that the sushi is gonna hit the spot, regardless of your price point. Sushi Zanmai is a really good sushi belt spot we had a quick lunch at. We were at the Tsukiji outer market getting our tourist on, checking out different foods, and we got seated here pretty quickly. The staff was hella accommodating and made sure we got in quick. We started eating right away. The selection was great off the belt, and I went in on all the different tunas off the menu, which the sushi chefs made fresh in front of us to order. There's a few locations of Sushi Zanmai around Tokyo, and I would definitely recommend this spot to anyone checking out the area. Another really popular tourist spot for sushi in Tokyo is Sushi no Midori. There's a location right by Shibuya Crossing, and with a bunch of set menu options and at great prices, there's a reason this spot always has a wait. We stopped by 15 minutes before it opened, and we were able to grab a ticket early, went to walk around a little bit, and then came back just after it opened and got seated. For only 3,300 yen, we got this whole set of nigiri. The tuna, the shrimp, the salmon, unagi, tamago, the uni, and everything else that I love. Each piece of nigiri was delicious, and you know I'm all about my otoro, and had to get an extra piece. This was my second time back here, and even though it is a popular tourist spot, it's really damn good sushi. Unafuji is a unagi spot that gained huge popularity in Nagoya, and opened up a Tokyo location in Ginza. Unagi is Japanese grilled freshwater eel, where unagi fillets are grilled and then basted in a sweet savory sauce. My favorite way to enjoy unagi is over a bed of white rice. but Unafuji specializes in hitsumabushi, a Nagoya specialty, where there are different ways to enjoy the meal, utilizing some of the dashi broth and wasabi in your bites. Unagi is one of my favorite Japanese dishes, and I really enjoyed my experience at Unafuji, and will definitely come back the next time I'm in Tokyo again. Now, let's talk about ramen. There's so many different kinds of ramen, generally classified by the type of broth. One of the most popular types of ramen in the world is tonkatsu, and Ichiran is probably the most popular tonkatsu ramen chain in Japan. Ichiran is well known for being served in its individual booths, where you can enjoy your ramen to yourself. I've had Ichiran every time I've come back to Japan. You can't go wrong with it. Just order at the machine, jot down your preferences, hand them to the servers, and they'll serve you a delicious bowl of ramen. Bare minimum interactions. As a huge introvert, I love it. I can't do a Japan trip without a quick Ichiran stop. We stayed in Ginza this trip, and we kept walking by this line every night. One of our last nights, we decided to check it out. I hate waiting in lines, so I wasn't really down, but I'm so glad we ended up doing this. Easily one of my favorite meals I had this trip, Ginza Kagari is located in a small alleyway and serves up some slow-cooked chicken broth ramen that I've never tasted before. The broth was super creamy and rich. The flavors were so deep, and I have no idea if I'll be able to find something like this back home. The ramen noodles themselves were perfect, and the side dishes it came with were a great compliment too. We also got some rice bowls on the side with chashu. It's a hella small restaurant, and there's a long wait, but I highly recommend this spot if you're visiting Tokyo or if you're just in Ginza. This is one of those spots that makes you want to go home and try to recreate it yourself, and just probably won't ever get it right. I can't make a video about Japan without talking about its convenience stores. Between the 7-Elevens, Lawsons, and Family Marts, I spent every morning grabbing some rice balls or the egg salad sandwich to start my day. And then at night on the way back to the hotel, making another stop to grab some ice cream or dessert. Even found a garden creamery collab they did out here at one location. If only the convenience stores back home had this type of selection, man. Japan has been my most visited country since I've started traveling, and I'm still not tired of going back. This trip, we happened to be here right when cherry blossoms started to bloom, and we were able to experience such beautiful moments around the city with locals and tourists alike, just taking it all in. This was our episode highlighting just some of our latest trip to Tokyo, and I hope you enjoyed seeing some of the spots we stopped at during this past trip. There's a lot more things we ate this trip that I didn't even get to talk about, but I wanted to showcase some of my favorite types of Japanese food that I've really grown to love. Every time I come back to Japan, I learn more to appreciate the quality and thoughtfulness that goes into what they do, whether it's in their products, their art, but especially in the food. I like to think about what foods I enjoyed during these trips, what I can't easily get back home, and try to learn how to make it myself in the kitchen. I'm definitely going to be back in Japan again soon, and I have more footage of other cities in Japan we visited as well that we'll be sharing in the future. Next up, we'll be sharing more of our travels and foods I've fallen in love with outside of the Bay. I'll see y'all next time. Peace.